Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 2021 driver career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Just 3 races remain on the season after today's episode here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps here now as we're excited for a quick push to the end of the season. But we are here for the Belgian GP here today, coming off of what's of course been an up and down season right now. 8th in the driver standings coming into this episode here, 2 spots ahead of our teammate Valtteri Bottas, who's also been having a rough season, but it's a 3-driver battle for the Drivers' Championship right now between Lando Norris, Sebastian Vettel, as well as Max Verstappen, with Vettel winning most recently in Britain there. As it was a rough British GP for myself, a lot of rain, and we're going to have a lot of rain today as well. This race here in Belgium is going to be full wet conditions the whole way through, so hopefully we can have a competitive effort here today in Circuit de Spa, but it's going to certainly be a tough challenge here. Now, when it comes to practice and qualifying, it was perfectly dry conditions, blue skies, not even a cloud barely in the sky here. Beautiful weather in Spa here to kick off this weekend now, as I was getting up to the grips with of course using no racing line for the first time ever at Spa, and I felt like, honestly, surprisingly, this was probably the easiest track I've come to for the first time without the braking line on, and been able to just kind of get the hang of it pretty quick. This is definitely the quickest I've been able to just go into a track, get it down, and put down some competitive lap times. This sweeping left-hander right here was probably the most challenging corner for me to hit the braking zone or turn-in zone. You're not really putting much brake into the car there, but making sure you don't swing out wide because you'll invalidate your lap time. But if you do swing out wide, you can just back out of the throttle for a second and get back in it, and they won't invalidate it for you, but obviously you'll give up a good chunk of time that you don't want to give up here. But practice was relatively competitive on the medium compound tire. Now as you jump through into qualifying, you see a little bit more cloud cover this time around here as we put that helmet on and get ready to put some laps in here. And now when we started this session here with a lubrication system fault, so that halted our progress a little bit, but I don't ever really make laps to the end of a session anyways. But over the last few GPs, we've been able to make it into Q3. The first part of the season, we couldn't make it into Q3 to save our career, and now here over the last few GPs, we've been making it no problem really into Q3. So hopefully we can continue that trend today, as we have a good car on the R&D charts now. It says we're second on the R&D charts, right behind the Red Bull team, but certainly Bottas and myself don't look like we're second on the R&D charts here now. But we easily cruise through into Q2. You see the 5 drivers eliminated right there, and then here we are making our lap now in Q2. It took me 2 laps in Q1 to be comfortable with where I had set my time and whatnot here, and I was actually expecting to do that again. I kind of gotten into a trend this season here of putting 2 laps down in these sessions to kind of make myself comfortable, and we come through to cross the line here for my first lap, and it was only 9th place, so I said, yep, we definitely should set another lap just to be safe here. Now set the fastest sector one time here in Q2, and it was a pretty competitive lap for this car's capabilities here, to say the least here. Now you can see myself coming through that long sweeping left-hander, gained a good chunk of time right there, nearly a whole 1/10 of a second, but by the time we come through to the end of the lap, over half a second gain here, losing a little bit of time but gaining it back here on the power down. We cross the line, go P3 for the time being, fastest sector 1 and 3 time, but we would end up 8th place here. Bottas barely gets into Q3 on the medium compound tire. The compound that you of course qualify on today, not going to matter because it's going to be full wet conditions for the race. But now we come through into Q3 trying to of course just do something better than 10th. Every time that we've made Q3 this season, we've only been able to do 10th place, so hoping that we can at least change that a little bit here today in Spa. Bottas, my teammate, currently there in 7th place, kind of the zone that he's been at all season long now. As we come through this final chicane here, power down hard here, DRS activated, coming through to cross the line, and it's going to be 8th place, but I would make a second lap once more here, and we found a little bit more time once again here, about 2/10 of a second just about here. Nearly invalidated my lap time, got very close right there, but we're going to head down through this long sweeping left-hander. This corner really feels like a make or break for the lap for me, but we would end up finding about 1/10.5 to 2/10, really gaining time on the exit of the final turn, nearly 3/10 extra. We go P7 here, fastest sector 3 time. Is it enough to hold P7? No, it is not. Our teammate of Valtteri Bottas gets us for 7th place, so nonetheless our best qualifying effort of the season, P8. Let's head to the grid in Spa.
Welcome along then to the Belgian Grand Prix, the race that gave us the maiden victory for the Jordan team in 1998, and in the same team the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special around one of the many corners of this fan-favourite circuit. Spa-Francorchamps then, a 4.35-mile tour of the Ardennes countryside, with 9 right corners and 10 left corners, giving us a grand total of 19. Average lap speeds in the dry can reach about 145 miles per hour, but without a significant improvement in these conditions, we won't be seeing anything like that today. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let me ask you about Aston Martin. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Vettel, Yuki Tsunoda, and Ricciardo, Bottas, the Golden Boy, Stroll, and Charles Leclerc, Sainz, Giovinazzi, George Russell, and Matsushita, Ocon, Lundgaard, Nicholas Latifi, and Mick Schumacher, Joe, and Callum Islet. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Ready to go green here in Belgium now. As you can see, the conditions are pretty rough, very miserable conditions here in Spa. It's a one-stop strategy here from the wet to wet compound of tire here, and hopefully we can have a respectable finish here and have no issues, of course. I mean, knock on wood, but we haven't had a mechanical failure yet this season. Hopefully we can continue that for the final few GPs that are coming up after today, and of course hopefully not have one today either, as we make it to the grid and ready to go green. It is a fight between Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Sebastian Vettel for the World Drivers' Championship, and they're all starting up inside the top 4 here today as we get ready to go lights out in Spa now. It's going to be 5 red lights and it's lights out, and we are underway here in Spa here for the Belgian GP. Down into turn 1, Norris holds off Verstappen there into the corner, and everyone's kind of being very cautious there into the corner. No need to push the limits too much here in these pouring rain conditions there. You see Gasly up there in the mix in 3rd place as well, but everyone kind of understanding the assignment. Let's just get through these first few corners and not run into many issues here, because it's so easy to, of course, throw your race away on a normal start, but when it's in the pouring rain, even easier here as we head down this long back straightaway now. As you can see, the 2 McLarens of Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel right there, just about side by side. To the right hander there, a little bit wide there, I believe, for that Sebastian Vettel car that was here. As you can see, the 2 Ferraris nose to tail as well. The Alpine scrapping it out with Antonio Giovinazzi here as they come through the right-hander now, and they're going to continue wheel to wheel here. Now both the Alpines here of Russell as well as Esteban Ocon in the mix here, but it's Russell there trying to complete the pass on Giovinazzi now. Continuous wheel-to-wheel racing and scrapping between these 2 drivers. Russell going to get ran a little bit wide, and they continue. He is not going to back out of that. The commitment is there, and it's actually going to work out as Giovinazzi has to fade in behind the British driver here. As you can see the rest of the field in the background, but it's that driver right there, Lando Norris, who's trying to get out in front of the championship battle and run away with it here, as Max Verstappen is in 2nd place over Gasly. Then you got the duo of Vettel and Ricciardo just behind in the McLarens. They're in the fight, of course, for the Constructors' Championship as well here now. As you can see, everyone coming through and keeping it nice and clean on this opening start. Nobody actually ran into each other, picked up any form of damage, which is, of course, fantastic for us here now as we go back on board with ourselves here behind the wheel of this Mercedes. And I did lose 1 spot on the start, but that was pretty good compared to most of my starts here in my Formula 1 career so far. We're here in 9th place, but we've lost, of course, 4, 5, 6 spots at times throughout our Formula 1 career, so I was pretty happy with the start that we had. I honestly think it pouring rain probably helped us a little bit there as we come through now to lap 2, and of course, you know, this being my first race at Spa with no racing line, that was already a bit of a learning curve and practice on the dry conditions, but now in the wet conditions, of course, I'm having to kind of learn a new kind of way of around Spa with no racing line here. So it was definitely taking me a little bit of time to get the hang of here, and you can see Lance Stroll and everybody pulling away from me here. Carlos Sainz within a second of myself. I was really struggling to pull away from Carlos Sainz, kind of shades of the last episode in Britain where the Ferraris were able to stick with us for so long. But as the laps were going on, we started to kind of get into the flow here, and we would pull away from the Ferraris now about 2 seconds a gap, and you can see we are now closing in on fellow Canadian of Lance Stroll. So once I kind of got, the flow down, we were starting to make a difference here now, as we were easily now pulling a gap on everybody behind us and continuously just inching closer and closer to Lance Stroll there in the BMW here. Now, as you can see now, about 6/10 to 5/10, now down to 4/10, and right actually to the rear diffuser of him on lap 8 here out of that final chicane, but I kind of got a little bit sloppy right there through that final chicane, so that did not do myself any favors. And you can see on the track map there on the bottom, yellow flag's actually out, and it's going to be for the Haas of Mick Schumacher, who's actually pulled over to the side of the track. It's a mechanical failure for Schumacher, who's going to be out of this race, and surprisingly, Formula 1 actually calls a safety car. So the safety car comes out. I thought it might have been for some contact, maybe some wings went flying. No, there was never any contact. Safety car was out for that, maybe because it was pouring rain. But as you can imagine, everybody is flooding into the pit lane to do their first and only pit stop, so they don't have to pit again under green flag conditions, because we can make it to the end of this race on the wet compound tire. Myself and Bottas do the double stack, but he was a little bit further ahead, so it worked out a lot better for me than it did for a lot of other drivers. As you saw, the Red Bulls and the McLarens and whatnot all had to kind of wait for each other here. So we would gain one spot. We overtook Stroll. We were going to overtake Stroll anyways. We were right all over the back of him, but now running in 8th place behind our teammate of Bottas here, ready for a restart, a safety car restart, a safety car that never even needed to happen. But I mean, obviously I wasn't complaining, because it brings me back up to everybody when I finally had gotten into a point where I kind of got myself into a rhythm and learned how to drive this track in the rain conditions. So it kind of felt like a second opportunity to make a difference in this race, as we're right at this halfway point of this GP, and we're back underway. Not a good start for myself there, but Norris leads the way. You can see with the double stacking issues, Verstappen is now from 2nd to 4th place, Gasly up in 2nd, Vettel in 3rd. So Verstappen has some work to do for sure, and it's going to be difficult here in these wet weather conditions. I was hoping to be able to put the fight at some point here to Valtteri in front of myself here now, as he was actually able to beat us in the last episode there in Silverstone by 1 position, and here we are once again running 7th and 8th place here. Now this has kind of been where we've been running as a team collectively between myself and Bottas. The only difference is now we've gotten so much progress on the R&D table that I don't understand why myself and Bottas are kind of capped right in the 7th, 8th, 9th place area. It doesn't make a lot of sense when you look at the R&D, but I think it's more of the track combinations and where the strengths and weaknesses of our car are at here now. But you can see actually getting a warning for exceeding track limits. But as the laps are going on to lap 15 now, starting to reel in Bottas here. After I got a few laps under my belt, we got back into that flow, into that rhythm here, and we were starting to make a bit of a difference again here now to lap 16. Running out of time quick here in Spa. It might be pouring rain, but the race really didn't feel like it was taking that long here now. It was moving through quite well, but 7/10 of a second the difference between myself and Bottas. I was really able to close up to the back of Bottas down these straightaways here with the ERS on, or overtake on I should say, and that was really the big difference maker that would bring me a little bit closer to Bottas here. But you can see losing a little bit of time here on this 16th lap. Now back up closer to a second, the difference between myself and Valtteri there. A little bit of oversteer actually out of him, but we would just kind of trade back and forth sector times basically, where I would close in a little bit here. Some of the corners I would really close up to him, and then some other corners he would start to stretch that gap back out here. So now you can see 4/10 of a second. This is the closest we've been to him since the restart here on lap 18 of 22. 6/10 of a second. If we can get a really good exit, we could get close enough to make a move, but you can see quite a distance now, and unfortunately it was still about 4/10 of a second between myself and Valtteri at the end of the straightaway here. So just not quite close enough to be able to make a move on him here. Now kind of just hoping for a mistake from Bottas here, because I knew I just didn't quite have enough to get right to him and be able to make a pass on him, unfortunately, in that Mercedes BWT. And it would continue like this. We just kind of stared at the back rear diffuser of Valtteri Bottas's car for the next few laps again. 6/10 of a second, 7/10 of a second. Now we started to increase that gap once again, like I mentioned, with us trading times back and forth. That was the trend this whole final run here as we come through to the final couple of laps. Lando Norris, 2 laps to go, sits the fastest lap of the GP, but then it goes all the way through Vettel to then Max Verstappen. Difficult GP for everybody to really be able to complete passes. It was almost decided basically under that whole safety car sequence with the pit lane. So now just accepting that is P8 here as Lando Norris leads with a couple of laps to go, as Lando Norris is actually going to choke. He spins around. Gasly's going to pile in, and so does Sebastian Vettel. Verstappen as well. The front 4 drivers have all collided. Here comes Tsunoda, who's going to DNF out of the GP. Ricciardo as well. Bottas and myself are coming up on it, and Bottas stops. Here I come out of nowhere. Across the track goes Norris, and suddenly we're leading the GP. We avoid the chaos. We take off in the distance, and suddenly coming to the final lap of the Spa racer in the Belgian GP, we have taken the lead. Unbelievable scenes. What just happened here as we saw Lando Norris lose it from the lead? Of course, we'll get another look here momentarily now, but it wasn't over. They were scrapping it out behind us. Many cars with damage out of nowhere. Everybody in front of us just collided. We were just far enough back to be able to take advantage of it and realize what was happening here. As you can see, Stroll getting passed by Verstappen, and Bottas slams into Stroll, damage there, and then suddenly we have Ricciardo and Norris crashing each other into the pit lane. What has happened? It's full-on madness here at this point. As you see what has happened, Norris completely spins out on his own, leading the Belgian GP with 2 laps to go, and Gasly piles in, and then you're going to see Verstappen, of course, piles in as well. I mean, absolute madness. There's Vettel. Here was Tsunoda piling in here just in front of Ricciardo, who would as well get a piece of it, and then, of course, our teammate Bottas doesn't hit anything, stomps, but got damaged going into the final corner, and we were able to just slip through and pass everybody here, just like this. I mean, look how close we were to hitting Lando Norris. We got so close, and on the final lap, Bottas, too much damage to continue. He would pull over to the side of the track and be out of the GP, and it was myself in the Mercedes pouncing on an opportunity that we never expected to have happen here, and suddenly down this back straightaway for the final time here in Spa. It's gonna be an absolute upset and insane podium. 2 Canadians go 1-2, myself and Lance Stroll. Charles Leclerc and Sainz are gonna be 3rd and 4th, Matsushita in 5th. We're gonna come through to win the Belgian GP. What an unbelievable turn of events, and what I think has got to be the craziest finish we've just ever seen in Formula 1 history. No words to describe what just happened. Absolute insanity, and we come out on top. Unbelievable. Matsushita wins driver of the day. Let's head to the podium for the celebrations.
What a great race then, and what a magnificent victory here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Ants, talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack, and having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
I have absolutely no words to describe what just happened here now, as there was a scrap, of course, for the final couple of points between all the drivers that crashed. Vettel gets 2 points, Lando gets 1 point. So how does this affect the championship here? Those little points right there and the big points we just saw lost for these drivers can make a huge difference for this championship battle. There you see it. Norris has a 3-point lead over Verstappen, an 8-point lead over Vettel. Ricciardo just missed out on a huge opportunity maybe to pounce on them all and gain a bunch of points by piling into that accident instead. And suddenly, in this final season, we did not expect to get a win with the way this car was. We managed to get a win here in Belgium in a track that I did not see it coming, of course, with the pouring rain conditions. It was a miserable weather race here, but unbelievable to say the least there, as we have 3 GPs left in the season, of course, with Monza, as well as we got Singapore, as well as Brazil it is, to round off the season for these 3 final GPs. And just, I mean, it's unbelievable finish to say the absolute least. It helps us in the constructors, and it really helps us in the drivers championship. Too far out to go for a championship at this point, but certainly a very unexpected end here to a wild, craziest finish ever in F1 that we've definitely seen. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. Hopefully we can somehow back that up with a strong effort in Monza, a track that we've had some history of rough luck at in the past. Let's hope this really good luck doesn't end up being bad luck in Monza. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you all for taking the time of your day for watching. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, etc. I will see you guys in the next one from Monza. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody.